On Monday, Attorney General William Barr threw the Justice Department smack dab in the middle of Donald Trump's fight with election results. He gave federal prosecutors his approval to pursue the president's claims of voter fraud, allowing this in specific instances before the results are certified. This goes against long-standing Justice Department policy and led to widespread criticism. The Justice Department's Election Crimes Branch head, Richard Pilger, stepped down afterward out of protest. He remains with the agency, however. Barr had first suggested a similar idea weeks ago. Political leadership in the DOJ's criminal division that includes the Election Crimes Branch was against it and was blindsided when Barr released his memo on Monday announcing the move, according to people familiar with the matter. Pilger said in an email to colleagues that having familiarized myself with the new policy and its ramifications, I must regretfully resign from my role as director of the Election Crimes Branch. Trump and allies were urging the DOJ to investigate the claims of voter fraud. These claims have been taken to several courts as well, who have refused to take up the cases, as there has been no evidence of fraud produced. DOJ officials previously said they were looking into allegations in Nevada. Information out of Michigan was referred to the FBI. Barr's memo appears to go against previous guidance from the Election Crimes Branch that said prosecutors should, in most cases, not take overt steps in voter fraud cases or related investigations until after the results are certified. This was to ensure that voters and state and local election officials decided the results instead of the federal government. If prosecutors were to deviate from this, they would be required to consult with the public integrity prosecutors and the Election Crimes Branch. Barr wrote in his memo that previous directive was never a hard and fast rule. He also wrote that a passive and delayed enforcement approach can result in situations in which election misconduct cannot realistically be rectified. He believes concern that DOJ would be influencing an election was reduced after voters had cast their ballots. Given this, and given that voting in our current elections has now concluded, I authorize you to pursue substantial allegations of voting and vote tabulation irregularities prior to the certification of elections in your jurisdictions in certain cases, as I have already done in specific instances, directed Barr. The former head of the DOJ's Civil Rights Division during the Obama administration, Vanita Gupta, is now president of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights. She remarked that the memo amounts to scaremongering that would allow officials to send letters or take other public steps that may suggest voter fraud when there is none. Officials in the DOJ worry that this type of move will lead outsiders to bring specious claims to federal law enforcement, empower U.S. attorneys to bypass consulting with public integrity prosecutors, and announce investigations of those claims publicly. This would potentially affect an election's legitimacy. This is totally predictable. It's DOJ scare tactics again. It's the same show we've seen before, said Gupta. Barr is probably doing this because Trump is demanding that he do something, but the voters decided the election and overwhelmingly voted forbidden. Former DOJ spokesman during the Obama administration, Matthew Miller, sees no justification for this now. The best-case scenario is that Barr did this to appease Trump and add credibility to his allegations of voter fraud, he said. The worst-case scenario is that DOJ is planning to intervene in some way and try to throw the election to the president. Neither one is good, but one is much, much worse than the other. One day earlier, Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham, RSC, who was just re-elected to the Senate, wrote to Barr and FBI Director Christopher A. Wray, urging them to investigate in Pennsylvania. This referred to claims by an Erie, Pennsylvania, postal worker that mail-in ballots were mishandled by postal supervisors. Barr's memo was sent to U.S. attorneys nationwide and the heads of the DOJ's Criminal Division, Civil Rights Division, National Security Division, and the FBI Director.